Welcome to this week's edition of Mob Talk. I'm Dave Schratwieser.
And I'm George Anastasia.
George, two things to cover this week: the fallout from the mistrial of Mob Boss Joey Merlino and the impact on the Philly mob.
Yeah, I think Joey's heading for a rematch, and until that's resolved, it's status quo downtown.
How's things?
Good.
How you feeling?
Good. Feel good.
Okay, George, Joey Merlino gets a mistrial in New York. Let's do a little math here. We're hearing some numbers from the jury, and it all seems to be on the government side.
Yeah, we're hearing 11-1, 10-2, 9-3. If those numbers are accurate, it's obvious they're going to try to retry this case. If they came that close, I don't think they're going to give Joey a pass now. I think we'll be back in court probably toward the end of this year. I mean, there's going to be some scheduling issues, but my guess is we'll be back in court doing this all over again.
We got a hearing coming up. Probably going to see some motions on this. Prosecutors saying, let's try it. Defense probably saying, let's not do it. It's going to go back and forth in court here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and given the tenor of this, the way this is played out, and the judge in the case, I think the prosecution is going to have a valid argument to say, if they want to do it again, let's do it again.
And he didn't go super jubilant after he won this last week. He didn't do that at all. In fact, he made a couple low-key comments and left.
Joey's very much a realist. I mean, he's been involved in this for most of his adult life. He knows how the game is played. And a hung jury is a win, but it's a tie. And if you got to do it again, you don't want to be too much in the government's face. I think Joey played it the right way.
Yeah, and Eddie Jacobs, same thing. His lawyer did the same thing, said that's the justice system, we accept it.
Yeah, happy to walk out of the courtroom. Anytime you're tried and with a serious charge and you can walk out of the courtroom, that's a good day.
Okay, let's move on a little bit here now. Let's talk about the impact here in Philadelphia. Joey is back in Florida at this point. Just asked for an extension of his curfew to 11 o'clock at night for some family visits, things like that. Does he stay down there while we're awaiting a decision here? Does he come back up here? What do you think?
I think he stays down there. I mean, I think we've talked about this.
The weather's
before.
better there too.
Yeah. Anytime he comes up here, he's on somebody's radar. Down there, if he stays low profile, and he's on supervised release, so he can't do very much anyway. If this thing plays out and we don't have a trial to the fall, I think we'll see Joey down the shore this summer. I mean, we saw him down there last year.
Oh, I think folks are already anticipating that.
Yeah, so I mean, that'll happen. Yeah. But in terms of the impact of what's going on in the underworld here, I think everything remains status quo. I mean, this is the wild card. Where does Joey land if he beats this case? If he doesn't beat the case, is there a void at the top? All of those things are kind of in flux right now.
All right, one last thing on the trial. Let's talk wardrobe for a little bit here, if we can. Joey, usually a pretty snazzy dresser, latest in style and things like that. But we noticed something walking in and out of court the day the verdict came down.
Yeah, I mean, the day that they were going to announce, I think, what was going to happen, very casually dressed, jeans and sneakers. It might be an indication that he wanted to be ready in case he had to go in, because I think if they had convicted, I think they would have revoked bail and he would have been swept away. So I guess he was dressing, you could read into that. He was dressing casually for that reason.
He looked good either way, by the way.
Yeah.
He always does.
Yes.
George, let's switch gears to South Philadelphia here. What's the impact down there right now? Is it kind of on hold while we wait for a decision on whether he gets retried? What's the status downtown?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you accept that Joey's still active and involved, then I think everything is on hold and you wait and see how it plays out. Joey keeps insisting he's not involved. He's certainly the face of the Philadelphia mob, whether he was or he is. And I think anything that happens to him has an impact downtown. There are Joey advocates downtown, and there are people downtown that would be just as happy if he never showed his face in South Philly again.
He's still hovering over the situation.
I think his personality, who he is as an individual, has an impact on what's going on downtown, directly or indirectly.
All right, now some of my sources are telling me that the word is already out that if in fact they don't retry him and he truly beats this like a total victory here, that it's going to be a different day in South Philadelphia downtown. It's going to be a different day. That he's not going to go play golf in Florida and work on his game, that it's going to be a different situation.
We've talked about this before. Is he going to try to exert himself? I don't think it's a smart move, given who he is and his history. We've said it before, he should stay in Florida. But, who knows? I mean, personalities get involved, financial considerations.
Absolutely.
On top of which we've said before, Joey's had some health problems.
Right.
So how does he deal with that? I think it's too early to speculate about anything right now. I think it's just a game that you got to watch and let play out.
Might be a good idea after the heart problems he had right before the trial started that delayed the trial to take it easy for a little bit here. That's a lot of stress on somebody. Every day of the week, 3 days, 3 weeks a year.
Well, I mean, common sense would tell you that. But the other thing is that Joey has always been Joey. Joey likes to live well. He always has. His ability to do that may be crimped a little bit given the situation right now.
Yeah.
But Ronnie Previty said it best. Joey's agenda on Monday is to get to Tuesdays.
Yeah.
That's the way he's always lived, and in a certain way, you got to admire him for that. It's kind of a devil-may-care. Let's live life to the fullest. But he pays a price for that.
All right. While he's resting up, waiting to see what the government's going to do, the FBI here in Philadelphia is certainly not resting, from what we hear. A lot of sources telling us kind of what's going on right now. They clearly are active at this point, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new unit in there, the organized crime unit, new guys, and I think they want to make a case. Whether they can make a case, we've been talking about this for 2.5 years now. They know what they want to make. They know the murders they want to put in a racketeering indictment. Are they going to be able to do that? I don't know. They've been trying for a long time.
We keep hearing about the Ralph Mazzucca murder. Now we're hearing about the Gino Marconi hit.
That's going back. Yeah.
That's getting heated up from what we hear.
And you've got Casasanto, you've got Turchi, and you got Monorano. So
Tony Torre in there too.
Yeah, we know the names, we know the players. Again, it keeps coming back to they've got a theory of what happened. Can they prove what happened? Can they go and get an indictment? A lot of steps have to be taken before we get to that point.
And you got to retread some government witnesses here if you're going to do that. Guys like Roger Vella, Bobby Luisi, name a few more, Tommy Scafidi, a few other guys that have been in court before. Do they come back with them too?
Well, I mean, and this current case in New York kind of underscores that. Our jury's getting tired of cooperating witnesses.
I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's the credibility so suspect that unless the government's got something else to back up that testimony, it's not worth anything. If it was 10-2 or 9-3 in the Merlino case, some jurors decided they couldn't convict based on the lack of credibility of these witnesses, and you only need one or two.
All right. Witnesses, you need a made guy, I think. You need a guy who was actually in on as a driver, a shooter, a blocker, somebody who was there and has first-hand knowledge. If you don't have that, I think it's a waste of time to bring those guys.
You need a participant.
Yeah.
That's what it always comes down to. And if you look at the successful trials, the Scarfo trial, the Stanford trial, the feds had participants, guys who said, I had the gun, I shot this guy, threw the gun over there, they recovered the gun, that kind of thing. Haven't had that in the more recent trials. And I think that carries a lot of weight with the juror.
Let's do one last thing on the trial if we could. Is it possible the government could kind of fold their cards for now and allow Philadelphia to wrap the New York case into a Philadelphia indictment as kind of a predicate act situation? Is that, it's not a legalese right there, but can they do it?
I don't know if they would do that given the egos and personalities. What we do know is there were other things in that New York investigation that never showed up in an indictment that could be wrapped into an indictment here in Philadelphia.
All right.
Things involving Philadelphia guys who were picked up on tape, who had conversations but were never charged. I mean, the interesting thing, if you think about that East Coast La Cosa Nostra enterprise, and the feds mentioned it was New York and New England and Philadelphia and New Jersey. Nobody in Philadelphia but Merlino was charged.
Yeah.
So what is that about? Is there other stuff they know? We don't know. But if there is, that would fold into a case down here.
And we know J.R. Rubio, we mentioned this before, was here in Philadelphia, made a few visits here, but never wore a wire here. But could have been gathering intelligence anyway.
Anytime he's here, if he's cooperating, what he hears, what he sees, he gives to the feds, and they can build off of that. Is it good? Is it evidence they can use? Remains to be seen. His role as a witness on the witness stand, certainly it wasn't top notch. I mean, I think he did okay on direct and got beat up on cross. That's going to happen anytime he gets on the stand, but that'll happen with any cooperating witness.
All right, George, so now we await the federal prosecutors. Do they retry? We await the decision by the judge, or does Joey go home?
No, I think we find out next week, and my money is we're going to do this all over again.
All right, we'll see you next time.